So from the fight, flight, or flight, this emotional response that originates essentially from long ago in your limbic system. So a more thoughtful, reasonable response comes from the higher order processing centers, mainly your prefrontal cortex, POC. This stuff's really important. So the reactionary response is fast, it's automatic, and often derived from survival instincts. So sometimes it's referred to as fight or flight, also incorporating freeze, but the key structures involved in specific to the amygdala. It's a small part of your brain, and it's a threat detector, basically. It rapidly assesses everything in emotional response of fear, aggression, and when it perceives any type of a threat, it immediately, unthinking reaction before the higher order of the brain, the POC, can actually do anything about it. And that hypothalamus works closely with the amygdala, but it's physiologically stress response type of a system, and it's activating the sympathetic nervous system. Increases your heart rate, your breathing, alertness, dilation of eyes, and it's manifestation of the reaction. As a pathway is sometimes called the low road, depending on whom you're reading about, or from rather. All of this is essentially an information trigger system. Your thoughtful response, what I like to say is the actual response, not the reaction, is deliberate, and it involves, well, several things, but from the PFC and the prefrontal cortex, located in the frontal lobe of your brain, essentially, and it does all of the executive functions. So your decision making, your reasoning, that's where this occurs. Your impulse control is managed, and it receives this initial raw input from the amygdala. That's known typically on the high road. All of these things and everything, the immediate impulse reaction if necessary, but the PFC allows the weight of consequences considering social context, all types of context, and choosing the behavior that's appropriate for what's happening instead of just the intuitive. And so when the PFC starts overriding the regulatory and the fat of the automatic signal from the amygdala, you start to be able to make better decisions, essentially. This is heavily tied into several things, though. So there's this technique I like to go over with all of my guys, and it's from the Navy SEALs. It's called box breathing, and essentially, the younger generation would call it a hack. It's, you can practice it to make it work fairly well, but essentially it's inhaling 4 seconds slowly, hold 4 seconds, release for 4 seconds, and then hold another 4 seconds with the lungs empty. Rinse, lather, repeat. How it works neurologically is a vagus nerve activation, and so it's slow, deliberate exhales is a critical step and stimulates the vagus nerve. It's like the superhighway, so connecting your brain to your body, in which it switches from a system of stress and driven in a sympathetic mode into the calm, the parasympathetic mode, basically. Amygdala reduction, by activating the parasympathetic nervous system, you actively lower the heart rate, the blood pressure. The senses clear a signal by the amygdala that threat is over, even if it's not, reducing the hyperreactivity. And essentially, from the PFC standpoint, prefrontal cortex, it's hormones decline, everything, cortisol, adrenaline. The blood flow and the inhibitory controls are restored and allows for rational thought, impulse control, and the creation of a thoughtful response. These things make a huge difference in how we can go from a reaction to a response. Just by doing it in the moment, if you can remember, essentially 16 seconds of holding your breath and how to do that, it's super important, and you can calm yourself to where you make just better decisions. The SEALs have been using that for some time, and it's one of the things I always like to say: study combatives. Go study combatives, and you'll see different things. Go study Miller, and you'll see different things. So many people put out wonderful things on this. Common Sense Self-Defense Solutions have put out wonderful things, and there is free courses. We were just talking about that the other day. I still go take those as well. Go look at as much information as you can possibly get. When you make critical, rational thought processes, your reaction, it's no longer a reaction. The biggest one I like to say with my guys on several videos, if you've seen my stuff, but if not, you go to the doctor. They take a mallet and they pop your knee. What happens? Your knee just kicks out, right? It's involuntary. It reacts. Your response is cognizant. Box breathe to become cognizant. If you can remember this in the moment, you can go from, oh no, oh no, oh no, to this is what we're going to do. And the more you know, the more information you have, the better you can, what the younger generation would call mind hack. And there's many, many, many books on this. I have a few of them. I think this stuff is super interesting, but I wanted to do the video on it because I think a lot of people think of violence and different things in just specific ways. You're having things happen in here when you're attacked. The more you learn about that, the better off you will be. And the more you learn across the board, why we always say go cross-train. It's super important. Go learn from as many people as you possibly can. Always empty cup, always white belt mentality. And be very thankful that we have so many wonderful people across the board that we can learn from. Salut.